Stacy Kiggins is Edison's International Baccalaureate Diploma Program Coordinator and serves as the chair of the Instructional Leadership Team. Before taking on this role, Ms. Kiggins was an English teacher for 14 years. After graduating as a North Carolina Teaching Fellow, Ms. Kiggins taught for 2 years in Greensboro until she found her home at Edison. Ms. Kiggins was the English Department Chair for 9 years and coached the nationally recognized EHS Speech and Debate Team for 11 years. She has published many books and has had the opportunity to address the roundtable at Oxford University in England on 2 separate occasions regarding the teaching of literature. She was named the 2010 Virginia Secondary Speech Communication Teacher of the Year, and in 2011 was recognized as the National Speech Teacher of the Year. Last year, she was named Edison High School's Outstanding Teacher.
Thank you, Paige. Class of 2018, I am honored. Sincerely, I am deeply moved by the opportunity to address you today, especially because in my 15 years as an educator, this is the first that I haven't been a traditional classroom teacher of seniors. Quite frankly, I'm surprised you even know who I am. She's that lady with the hair. She's always talking about the IB learner profile and calling our homes when we didn't turn in our IAs. So the IB learner profile trait I'd like to talk to you about today is, I'm just kidding. Maybe. No, my first great love is literature. So on this most august of occasions of your commencement, I would like to begin with a poem appropriately entitled My IQ by Ani DeFranco. I was 4 years old, and they tried to test my IQ. They showed me this picture of 3 oranges and a pear, and they asked me, which one is different? It does not belong. They taught me different is wrong. But when I was 13 years old, I woke up one morning to a war, like a warning that I live in a breakable, takeable body, an ever-increasingly valuable body, that a woman had come in the night to replace me, deface me. You see, my body is borrowed. I got it on loan for the time in between my mom and some maggots. I don't need anyone to hold me. I can hold my own. I got highways for stretch marks. See where I've grown? And I sing sometimes like my life is at stake because you're only as loud as the noises you make. I am learning to laugh as hard as I can listen because silence is violence and women and poor people. If more people were screaming, then I could relax. But a good brain ain't diddly if you don't have the facts. We live in a breakable, takeable world, an ever-available, possible world, and we can make music like we can make do. Genius is in the back seat to nothing if you're dancing, especially something stupid like IQ. For every lie I unlearn, I learn something new. And I sing sometimes for the war that I fight, because every tool is a weapon if you hold it right. So, thank you. I wanted to open with that poem for a few reasons. 1, I love it. And 2, it has a metaphor I'd like to reference throughout, which is this idea of tools as weapons. In a literal sense, I am not a fan of violence. I understand its purpose as best as I am able, but it is not my chosen form of conflict resolution. Still, figuratively, I find myself engaged in battle every day, as do all of your teachers. It is a war against apathy and ignorance, and it is fought on the battlegrounds of your hearts and minds. And we are all soldiers on the front lines. Indeed, on the day I was told I might be making this address, a young man not an hour from where I live in southern Maryland showed us once again what violence in schools looks like. And that wasn't 7 days after Great Mills High School, like you, staged a peaceful protest to commemorate the Parkland victims. So you see, this war is both real and abstract. And as far as I can tell, the best way to fight it is with tools. The tools of your education, your compassion, your willingness to connect with others. Wait a minute. Knowledge, caring, open-mindedness, and I said I wouldn't talk about the IB learner profile. A small portion of my life has been dedicated to making things, and it took me maybe longer than it should have to realize that you have to have the right tools for every job. So, on the subject of jobs, I took the liberty of making a list of some of the most sought-after, highest-paying jobs in the market. Telemedicine physician, cloud architect, developer evangelist, search engine optimization analyst, and my personal favorite, AI chat boy copywriter. What's interesting to note about these jobs is that they did not exist when you entered Edison High School. So just for fun, to what extent does a list of jobs that did not exist 4 years ago provide critical commentary on your educational experience? Think about it. This should confirm something you've suspected for quite some time, but have never had the satisfaction of knowing. Your teachers, the ones who love to talk to you about this massive, terrifying abyss of the real world, which, by the way, can we just take a moment to laugh at the fact that the people who talk to you most about the real world, we work in a high school. We know nothing of telecommuting or lunch hours. Anyway, yes, these people who try desperately to get you to care about the slope of a tangent line, we have absolutely no idea what we are doing. We are flailing blindly, trying to prepare you for something that we don't even know what it is. How are we supposed to prepare you for the demands of AI chatboyhooddom when if you'd asked me 4 years ago what a cloud architect was, I would have quoted Henry David Thoreau to you. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. Put the foundations under them. It is not possible for your teachers or any institution to prepare you for a world that is changing so quickly. The jobs that you will get in your futures, not only did many of them not exist when you entered high school, I would wager that some of them don't even exist now. When I graduated high school last century, I know you hear it all the time, but there were no cell phones. Some really fancy people had car phones, but they were bigger than the walkie-talkies you see on Stranger Things, and they were attached to the car. So, you know. We were over the moon when MapQuest came out, and you could print step-by-step directions. These days, my electric car talks to me and knows where to direct me on any particular day of the week based on my habits and when precisely I need to leave to make it there on time. It sends me notifications about this through the little black mirror of my watch. Ask me how much I learned about how to use these tools in high school, college, graduate school. And yet here we all are, ready to prepare you educated enough to enter the real world. Kids, you've been had. So the world is changing quickly, but also it's not. Innovation and change are nothing new to the human experience. Think about the stablemen when the Model T hit the streets, and then you can talk to me about mass devastation of the status quo. I went to what some people would call a very good teaching school, and I received many sound theoretical strategies. But guess how much I learned about actual teaching? None of it served me at all on my first day of school when a kid lit a joint in my classroom. Thank you, Harry Wong. I had to learn my craft by practicing it, like everyone before me. And this in itself has not and will never change. The right tools for every job are the same throughout the millennia, no matter what new devices or vocations come about in this changing global environment. You need to be a risk taker, to communicate, to inquire, reflect, think. Oops, I did it again. In all honesty, I'm not worried that Edison hasn't prepared you for what the world is. Rather, I worry that Edison has prepared you for what the world is not. Like Hannah before me, I implore you to look around. In this audience, you will see every imaginable race, creed, non-binary gendered individual you could ever ask for, and you're brilliant. Callie Hollister is going to Juilliard. Alejandra Orellana, NYU. Sarah Reyes, the Culinary Institute. Jean Kim, the Naval Academy. Fernando Estrada, Fairfax County Code Enforcement. And then consider that the most powerful person in your academic career to date is an African American, Dartmouth-educated woman. I pray that a reality such as this is one in which you find yourselves for the rest of your lives. A place where diversity and love and excellence are the standard, not the goal. But if it isn't, remember you came from Edison High School, and remember who you are. Remember you are caring. The class that at the last moment threw away all of its planning for homecoming to wear orange in solidarity with the Las Vegas victims. Remember, you are principled. The class that took on leadership roles in protest and demonstration, canvassing during the 2016 election. Remember, you're balanced. The class with athletes that led our school to states on multiple occasions. Take these tools and go forth to take up arms against the crimes of poverty, to wage war on the corruption and injustice in this world, to fight valiantly against bigotry, to assail cruelty. Join me, class of 2018, in fighting the righteous fight with these tools you have been given. Congratulations, class of 2018.